Dr. Yusuf Okonkwo was 60 years old. He had gray hair and tired eyes and hands that had healed thousands of patients. He had worked in the free clinic for 30 years. He had seen things that would make other doctors run away screaming. He had treated aliens with 6 arms. He had fixed broken bones in creatures made of crystal. He had once saved the life of a being that was mostly made of light. But when Myra Chun walked into his clinic carrying a bundle wrapped in an old jacket, he felt real fear for the first time in many years. "Myra," he said slowly, looking at the creature on his examination table, "do you know what this is?" "A Draconary baby." Myra stood next to the table with her arms crossed. Her face was pale and tired, but her eyes were determined. "I looked it up on my communicator while I was walking here. And do you know what the Draconary do to people who hurt their children?" "I am not hurting it. I am helping it." The doctor closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The Draconary were the most powerful species in the known galaxy. They had destroyed entire planets when they were angry. They had burned civilizations to ash for small insults. They considered most other species to be like insects, not worth their attention. And now one of their babies was lying on his table, wrapped in a mechanic's jacket, looking at him with big scared eyes. "I do not know how to treat Draconary," he said finally. "Nobody knows. They do not share their medical knowledge with other species. They do not think we are important enough. Then we figure it out." Myra moved closer to the table. She looked down at the dragon baby with soft eyes. "What do we know about similar creatures? It has scales like a reptile, so it probably needs to stay warm. It is probably dehydrated. It probably needs special food. You want to invent dragon medicine from nothing? Do you have a better idea?" Dr. Okonkwo did not have a better idea. He looked at the young woman in front of him. She was covered in engine grease. She had dark circles under her eyes. She had probably not eaten a real meal in days. And she was ready to stay up all night to save a creature that her species had no business helping. This was the problem with humans. They had only been in space for 300 years. They were babies compared to the old species. They should be scared and careful and quiet. Instead, they kept sticking their noses into things that were not their business. It was also, the doctor had to admit, the best thing about them. "Okay," he said. "Let us try." They worked through the night. The dragon baby was in bad shape. Its body was cold. Its scales were falling off. It was not eating or drinking. Something was very wrong inside it, but they did not know what. Myra approached the problem like an engineer. She thought of the dragon's body as a machine that was broken. She made guesses about what might be wrong. She tested her guesses carefully. When something did not work, she tried something else. The doctor translated her ideas into medical actions. When Myra said the dragon needed more heat, he built a warming system. When Myra said it needed fluids, he figured out how to give it water without hurting it. When Myra guessed that its scales needed certain minerals, he found those minerals and applied them carefully. Hour after hour, they worked. The dragon baby watched them with its big jewel eyes. Sometimes it whimpered. Sometimes it tried to move closer to Myra. It seemed to understand that she was trying to help Dodd at 3 in the morning. They discovered the real problem. There was a poison in the dragon's blood. Someone had given it to the creature on purpose. Someone had wanted this baby to die slowly and painfully. Who would do this? Myra asked. Her voice was angry. Her hands were shaking. Who would poison a baby? I do not know, the doctor said quietly. But we can worry about that later. Right now, we need to get this poison out of its body. They worked for 3 more hours. The doctor created a treatment based on what he knew about similar poisons. Myra helped him adjust it for the dragon's strange body. They made mistakes. They fixed those mistakes. They kept trying. By the time the station's artificial sun began to rise, the dragon baby was breathing normally. Its scales had stopped falling off. A faint shine was returning to them. It was sleeping peacefully for the first time since Myra had found it. "I think it is going to live," the doctor said. He sounded surprised, amazed, a little scared. Myra just nodded. She was sitting in a chair next to the examination table. She had not slept at all. She had not eaten anything. But she was smiling. The dragon baby opened its eyes. It looked around the room slowly. Then it looked at Myra very carefully. It climbed off the table. Its little legs were shaky, but it managed. It walked across the floor until it reached Myra's chair. Then it climbed into her lap. Myra froze. She did not know what to do. She did not know if she should touch it or push it away or call for help. The dragon baby curled up in her lap like a cat. It wrapped its tail around her wrist again. Then it closed its eyes and went back to sleep. "It likes you," the doctor said softly. "It does not even know me. It knows that you saved its life. It knows that you did not have to. It knows that you chose to help when you could have walked away." The doctor sat down heavily in another chair. "Draconaria are very intelligent. Even the babies. It understands what you did for it." Myra looked down at the sleeping creature in her lap. It was warm now. Its breathing was steady. Its tiny claws were holding onto her shirt. "I could not just leave it there," she said quietly. It was scared and alone. Nobody should die like that. Most people would have walked away. Most species would have walked away. Then most people are wrong. The doctor laughed. It was a tired laugh, but real. "Yes," he said. "I suppose they are." They sat in silence for a while. The dragon baby slept. The morning light came through the clinic's small windows. Somewhere in the station, people were waking up and starting their days. They did not know that anything special had happened. They did not know that a tired young human had just done something that no one in the galaxy had ever done before. She had saved a dragon, and the dragon was not going to forget it. The lights in the market were old and tired. They made a buzzing sound that never stopped. Myra Chun walked between the food stalls with her hands in her pockets and her eyes on the ground. She was 18 years old. She fixed engines on cargo ships for a living. She was tired, hungry, and she only had enough money for instant noodles. The Kepler station market was not a nice place. It sat in the lower rings of the station where the air always smelled bad and the walls had rust on them. Different aliens from different planets sold things here. Some sold food. Some sold tools. Some sold things that Myra did not want to know about. But everything was cheap, and cheap was all Myra could afford. She found the noodle stall and bought 3 packets. The seller was a creature with too many eyes. It did not talk to her. She did not talk to it. That was how things worked in the lower rings. Mind your own business. Keep your head down. Go home alive. Myra took her noodles and started walking toward the transit station. The fastest way was through the back alleys behind the food stalls. It was not the safest way, but Myra had walked it many times before. She knew which corners to avoid. She knew which shadows might have bad people hiding in them. She was halfway through when she heard the sound. It was a small sound, weak, like a baby animal crying, but also like metal scraping against glass. It made Myra stop walking. It made the hair on her arms stand up. She should keep walking. She knew this. The alleys were not safe. Strange sounds meant trouble. Smart people did not look for trouble, but the sound came again. Weaker this time. Sadder. Myra was not always smart. Her mother had told her this many times before she died. "You care too much," her mother used to say. "The galaxy is hard and cold. You cannot save everyone." But Myra could not just walk away. Not when something sounded so scared and alone. She walked toward the sound. Her hand touched the small tool on her belt. It was not a weapon, but it was better than nothing. She moved slowly, carefully, looking around every corner before she stepped forward. The sound led her behind a pile of old cargo boxes. Someone had thrown a lot of garbage here. Broken machine parts, torn pieces of cloth, the kind of waste that nobody wanted to clean up. And there, in the middle of all that garbage, was a creature that made Myra forget how to breathe. It was a baby. That was the first thing she understood. A baby of some kind, curled up in a ball, shaking and crying. Its body was covered in scales that should have been shiny like mirrors, but were now dull and cracked. It had wings, small ones, folded against its back. It had a long tail wrapped around itself. And it had eyes. Big eyes, like jewels, that looked up at Myra with pure terror. Myra knew what this creature was. Everyone knew. Every child in the galaxy learned about them in school. Dragons. The Draconari were one of the oldest species in the universe. They had been flying between stars when humans were still living in caves. They were huge. The adults were as big as spaceships. They could breathe fire hot enough to melt metal. They were so powerful that entire civilizations were afraid of them, and one of their babies was dying in an alley behind a noodle stall. The baby dragon tried to hiss at Myra. It tried to look scary and dangerous. But the sound that came out was weak and broken. This creature was sick. Very sick. Myra could see it in the way its scales were falling off. She could see it in the way it could barely lift its head. "Hey," Myra said softly. She crouched down slowly, making herself smaller. "Hey, little one. I am not going to hurt you." The dragon baby stared at her. Its big jewel eyes were full of fear and confusion. It had probably never seen a human before. Humans were a young species. 300 years in space was nothing compared to the Draconari's millions of years. Myra did not know what to do. She did not know how to help a dragon. She did not know if the dragon would let her help. She only knew that she could not leave a baby to die alone in the garbage. She took off her jacket. It was old and worn, but it was warm. Slowly, carefully, she moved closer to the dragon baby. The creature watched her with wide eyes, but did not try to run. Maybe it was too weak to run. Maybe it understood that Myra was trying to help. "I'm going to wrap you up," Myra said softly. "It will be warm. It will be okay. I promise." She wrapped the jacket around the dragon baby as gently as she could. The creature was lighter than she expected. Its scales felt cold against her arms. It was shaking badly. When she picked it up, the dragon baby made a small sound. Not a scared sound this time. A different sound. Almost like a question. "I know," Myra said. "I do not know what I am doing either. But I know someone who might be able to help. Just hold on, okay? Just hold on a little longer." She held the dragon baby against her chest and started walking. Her noodles were forgotten on the ground. She did not care about noodles anymore. She did not care about being tired or hungry. She only cared about the small, cold, scared creature in her arms. The free clinic was 10 minutes away. Dr. Okonkwo ran it. He was old and kind, and he had helped Myra many times when she could not afford a real doctor. He had helped many people in the lower rings. He never asked for money. He never asked questions. Myra walked as fast as she could without running. Running might scare the baby. Running might hurt it. The dragon baby pressed its head against Myra's chest. She could feel its heart beating. Fast. Too fast. But still beating. "You are going to be okay," Myra told it. She did not know if dragons could understand human words. She said them anyway. "I found you. I have got you. You are not alone anymore." The baby made that small sound again. That questioning sound, and then, very slowly, it wrapped its tiny tail around Myra's wrist. Myra did not know it yet, but that small action would change everything. That tiny tail around her wrist would change the future of her species. It would change the future of the galaxy. But right now, she was just a tired young woman carrying a sick baby through dark alleys, hoping she could find help in time. That was enough. Sometimes that was everything. 3 days passed. The dragon baby grew stronger every hour. It followed Myra everywhere she went. It slept in her lap. It ate from her hand. It made happy sounds when she talked to it, and sad sounds when she had to leave the room. Dr. Okonkwo let them stay in the clinic. He did not know what else to do. They could not exactly put a dragon baby in Myra's tiny apartment. They could not tell anyone what they had found. The wrong people might try to take the baby. The wrong people might try to hurt it again. So they waited. They kept the baby hidden. They hoped that nobody would notice, but somebody did notice. On the third day, every alarm on Kepler Station started screaming at the same time. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Voices shouted over the communication systems. People ran in all directions, trying to find shelter. "What is happening?" Myra asked. She was holding the dragon baby in her arms. The creature was scared of all the noise. Dr. Okonkwo looked at his computer screen. His face went white. "There is a ship," he said slowly. "A very big ship. It just appeared above the station." "What kind of ship?" The doctor turned the screen so Myra could see. She felt her stomach drop. The ship was huge. It was larger than the entire station. It was shaped like a dragon with its wings spread wide. It was made of metal that looked like it was burning with inner fire. It was the most beautiful and terrifying thing Myra had ever seen. A Draconary dreadnought. A warship of the dragon people. "They are looking for the baby," Myra whispered. "They must be." The doctor's voice was shaking. "Myra, the Draconary. When they are angry, they do not ask questions. They do not negotiate. They just destroy." The dragon baby in Myra's arms made a small noise. It seemed to understand what was happening. It pressed closer to Myra and hit its face against her chest. A voice came over all the communication channels at once. It was deep and powerful and ancient. It filled every room on the station. "We are the Draconary. Our child has been taken from us. Her life signal led us to this station. You will return her to us immediately. If she has been harmed, we will reduce this station to dust." People everywhere started to panic. Some tried to run to their ships. Some tried to hide. Some just stood frozen, too scared to move. The station commander tried to answer. He said he did not know anything about a dragon child. He begged for time to search. He promised to help. The voice did not care. "You have 1 hour. If our child is not returned, everyone on this station will die." Myra looked at the dragon baby in her arms. The baby looked back at her with those big jewel eyes. It was scared. It was holding on to her so tightly. "I have to tell them," Myra said. "What?" Dr. Okonkwo grabbed her arm. "Myra, if you contact them directly, they might kill you. They might think you were the one who hurt the baby. They are going to kill everyone on this station if I do not. There are 40,000 people here. There are children here." Myra shook her head. "I cannot let that happen. But what will you say to them? How will you explain?" Myra did not know. She just knew that she had to try. She used the clinic's communication system. She found the channel that the Draconary ship was using. She took a deep breath. "Hello," she said. Her voice was small compared to the ancient voice of the dragon. "My name is Mira Chun. I am a human. I have your daughter. She is safe. She is healthy. But I need to tell you what happened to her." There was silence. Long, terrible silence. Then a different voice answered. It was still powerful, but there was something else in it now. Something that sounded almost like hope. You have my daughter? Yes, I found her 3 days ago. She was in an alley behind a market. Someone had left her there to die. She was poisoned and sick and scared. Myra held the baby closer. I took her to a doctor. We worked all night to save her. She is okay now. She's right here with me. More silence. You saved her? Yes. Why? The question confused Myra. What do you mean, why? She is Dragonary. You are human. Our species have never had contact before. We are strangers to you. Why would you help a stranger's child? Myra looked down at the dragon baby. The baby was looking up at her, waiting for her answer. Because she was scared, Myra said simply. Because she was alone. Because she was just a baby and she needed help. I did not think about what species she was. I just saw someone who was suffering. The voice on the other end was quiet for a long moment. I am coming down to your station, it said finally. I am coming alone. I want to see my daughter. I want to see the human who saved her. Okay. Myra gave the location of the clinic. Please do not hurt anyone. The people here did not do anything wrong. The ones who hurt your baby, they are not here. They left her and ran away. How do you know this? Because if they were here, I would have found them by now. And I would have made them sorry. The voice made a sound that might have been a laugh. Then the communication ended. Myra waited. Dr. Okonkwo waited. The dragon baby waited. And then the air in the middle of the clinic began to glow. It twisted and sparkled and formed into a shape. A tall shape. A powerful shape. The dragon mother had arrived. She was 8 feet tall. Her scales shifted through colors that Myra's eyes could not quite understand. Her wings were folded behind her back. Her eyes were ancient and deep and terrible. But when she saw her daughter in Myra's arms, all the terrifying power seemed to drain away. She just looked like a mother who had been very, very scared. My little one, she whispered. The dragon baby made a happy sound. It reached toward its mother with tiny claws, but it did not let go of Myra's shirt. The dragon mother noticed this. She looked at her daughter, then at the human girl holding her. She has bonded with you, the mother said quietly. She trusts you. She loves you. I just helped her, Myra said. Anyone would have done the same thing. No. The dragon mother shook her head slowly. No one would have done the same thing. In 10,000 years, no one ever has. She reached out and gently touched her daughter's head. The baby made happy sounds, but still held on to Myra. I am Vexillar, the mother said. I am a sovereign matriarch of the Draconary. This is my daughter, Kirovex. And you, Myra Chum, have done something that I can never repay. Myra did not know what to say. She just held the baby and tried not to shake. The universe was about to change. She could feel it. She just did not know how much. The dragon mother sat in the small clinic and drank tea that Dr. Okonkwo had made for her. She did not actually drink it. Dragons did not eat or drink the way humans did. But she held the cup in her claws and seemed to enjoy the warmth. Myra sat across from her. Little Kirovex was in her lap, half asleep but still holding onto Myra's shirt. The baby dragon had not let go of Myra since her mother arrived. This seemed to mean something important, but Myra did not understand what. I must tell you something, Vexillar said. Her voice was softer now than it had been on the communication channel. I must explain what happened to my daughter and what it means that you saved her. Okay, Myra said. She was still a little scared of the dragon mother. It was hard not to be scared of a being that could destroy cities with her breath. Among my people, there are many families, many groups who compete for power. My family is one of the strongest. This makes us a target. Vexillar looked at her sleeping daughter with sad eyes. There are those who want to weaken me. They could not attack me directly. So they took my daughter. They kidnapped her? Yes, they took her from our homeworld. They poisoned her. They brought her to this station and left her in the garbage to die. The dragon mother's scales flickered with dark colors. Angry colors. They wanted her death to look like an accident. They wanted no one to know what really happened. Myra felt sick. She remembered finding Kirovex in that alley. So small. So scared. Left alone to die in the dark. That is horrible, she said quietly. It is politics. Vexaler said the word like it was poison. It is the way powerful beings have always treated each other. Use any weapon. Hurt anyone. Children mean nothing. Kindness means nothing. Only power matters. That is wrong. The dragon mother looked at Myra with an expression that was hard to read. Yes, it is wrong. I have always known it was wrong. But I thought it was just how the universe worked. I thought there was no other way. She set down her teacup and leaned forward. Then you found my daughter. A human girl. A species we had never even talked to before. You found her in an alley dying, and you picked her up. You carried her through the dark. You worked all night to save her life. You asked for nothing in return. I could not just leave her there. Anyone else would have. Do you understand that, Mira? Any other being in this galaxy would have walked away. They would have been afraid of what the Draconari might do. They would have decided it was not their problem. They would have put their own safety first. Myra shook her head. I do not believe that. I cannot believe that everyone in the galaxy is that selfish. Not selfish. Just afraid. Just careful. Just smart. Vexaler smiled, and it was a strange thing to see on a dragon's face. Humans are not smart. Humans are foolish. Humans walk into dark alleys and pick up dying dragon babies because it is the right thing to do. Is that bad? No, child. That is wonderful. That is the most wonderful thing I have seen in 10,000 years of living. The dragon mother stood up. She was very tall. She had to bend down to not hit her head on the ceiling. In Draconari culture, there is something called a life debt. When someone saves the life of a Draconari, especially a child, we owe them everything. The debt can never be fully repaid. It binds our families together for generations. Myra did not understand. What does that mean? It means that you, Mira-chan, are now connected to my family forever. It means that the Draconari owe you a debt that will last longer than your species has existed. Vexaler knelt down so that her eyes were level with Myra's. It means that I would like to adopt you as my own daughter. If you will allow it. Myra's mouth fell open. She could not speak. I know this is strange, Vexaler said gently. I know we are different species. I know you have your own life here. I know you have your own life here. But Kirovex has bonded with you. She has chosen you as her family. And I would be honored to call you family as well. You want to adopt me? A dragon wants to adopt a human? Yes, but why? I am nobody. I fix engines. I live in a tiny apartment. I eat instant noodles for dinner. Vexaler made a sound that was almost a laugh. You are not nobody. You are the girl who saved my daughter's life. You are the girl who showed an ancient species that kindness still exists in this galaxy. She reached out and gently touched Myra's face with one claw. You are more important than you know. Little Kirovex woke up at that moment. She looked at her mother, then at Myra. Then she made happy sounds and tried to hug both of them at the same time. She wants us to be a family, Vexaler said softly. She has never been so attached to anyone before. Not even me. Myra looked at the baby dragon in her arms. At the mother dragon kneeling in front of her. at the strange, impossible situation she had found herself in. "I do not know how to be part of a dragon family," she admitted. "I do not know how to have a human daughter," Vexala replied. "We will learn together." Dr. Okonkwo, who had been watching all of this in stunned silence, finally spoke up. "What about your enemies? The ones who tried to kill Kirovex? Will they not come after Myra now?" Vexala's went cold. Her scales darkened. For a moment she looked like the terrifying being that other species feared. "Let them try," she said. "Let them come for my daughters. Both of my daughters. They will learn what happens when you threaten a dragon's children." She turned back to Myra, and her expression softened again. "You will be protected. You will be safe. You will have a family that will love you and defend you until the last star burns out." She held out her clawed hand. "Will you accept?" Myra thought about her life. Her tiny apartment. Her long hours at work. Her loneliness. Her empty refrigerator and her instant noodles. Then she thought about the baby dragon who had wrapped her, tail around Myra's wrist, and refused to let go. "Yes," she said. "I accept." Kirovex made a sound of pure joy. She spread her tiny wings and tried to fly, but she was not strong enough yet. She settled for climbing up to Myra's shoulder and rubbing her head against Myra's cheek. Vexala smiled. A real smile. The kind of smile that did not look scary at all. "Welcome to the family, daughter," she said. And just like that, Myra-chan went from being a nobody to being a princess of the most powerful species in the galaxy. She still did not quite believe it was real. 1 year had passed since Myra found a dying dragon baby in an alley behind a grocery store. 1 year since she wrapped a stranger in her jacket and carried her through the dark. 1 year since everything changed. The galaxy was not the same anymore. The Draconari, for the first time in their long history, had opened their doors to another species. They shared their technology with humans. They shared their knowledge. They invited human scientists to study on their worlds. They sent their own scholars to learn about humanity, all because a tired young woman had stopped to help. Myra lived on the Draconari homeworld now. She had a room in the palace of sovereign matriarch Vexala. It was bigger than her entire old apartment had been. The walls were made of metal that shifted colors like dragon scales. The windows looked out over mountains of crystal and rivers of liquid fire. She still worked as a mechanic. She could not stop working. It was who she was. But now she worked on Draconari ships, learning secrets that no human had ever known. The dragons were amazed at how quickly she learned. They said she had the mind of an engineer and the heart of a dragon. Kirovex was bigger now. She was the size of a large dog, with wings that could actually carry her short distances. She followed Myra everywhere. When Myra worked on engines, Kirovex would sit nearby and watch. When Myra ate dinner, Kirovex would curl up under the table. When Myra slept, Kirovex would sleep at the foot of her bed. The other dragons found this funny. They had never seen a Draconari child so attached to anyone. They called Kirovex the human shadow and laughed in their deep rumbling way. But they also respected Myra. They respected what she had done. They respected the courage it took to save a dying child when everyone else would have walked away. Dr. Okonkwo visited sometimes. The Draconari had given his clinic new equipment, better medicine, more resources to help the people in the lower rings of Kepler Station. They said it was a thank you gift, but everyone knew it was more than that. It was an apology for all the times the powerful had ignored the weak. On this day, 1 year after Myra found Kirovex, Vexala came to visit Myra in her workshop. "I have news," the Dragon Mother said. "The ones who hurt my daughter have been found." Myra put down her tools. "What will happen to them?" "They will face justice." "But that is not why I came to tell you." Vexaler sat down on the floor, making herself smaller so she could look at Myra eye to eye. I came to thank you, again, for the 100th time, for the 1,000th time. You do not need to keep thanking me. You have given me so much already. I have given you things. Ships, knowledge, a home. But you gave me something that cannot be measured. You gave me my daughter. You gave me hope. Myra was confused. Hope for what? Vexaler was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was sad. I am very old, Myra. I have lived for 10,000 years. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have seen species destroy each other over nothing. I have seen cruelty and greed and hatred again and again and again. She looked at her claws. After so long, I started to believe that this was just how things were. That kindness was weakness. That caring about others was foolish. That is a sad way to live. Yes, it is. But then you came along. Vexaler looked up at Myra with something like wonder in her ancient eyes. A young human girl. From a species we had never even bothered to notice. You found my daughter dying in the garbage, and you picked her up. You asked nothing. You expected nothing. You just saw someone who needed help, and you helped. Anyone would have done that. No, that is what I am trying to tell you. No one would have done that. In 10,000 years, no one ever did. Beings from 100 different species walked past that alley. They heard my daughter crying. They did nothing. Myra did not know what to say. She had never thought of herself as special. She had just done what felt right. You humans are strange, Vexaler continued. You are young and small and weak compared to the old species. You should be afraid of us. You should try to hide and survive and stay out of our way. Instead, you rush toward danger. You help strangers. You treat everyone like they deserve kindness, even dragons who could burn your worlds to ash. Is that bad? Vexaler laughed. It was a warm sound, full of genuine joy. No, daughter. That is beautiful. That is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. She reached out and took Myra's hand in her huge clawed fingers. You have given me hope that the galaxy does not have to be cruel. That kindness can survive. That caring about others is not weakness, but strength. The greatest strength of all. Kiravex chose that moment to come flying through the workshop door. She crashed into Myra's lap with a happy shriek, knocking over several tools and sending sparks flying everywhere. Sorry, Myra said automatically, reaching for the tools. But Vexaler just laughed again. Do not apologize. She is happy. That is all that matters. Myra held the young dragon in her arms. Kiravex was getting too big to hold like this, but neither of them wanted to stop. What happens now? Myra asked. Now we build a new future, Vexaler said. A future where dragons and humans work together. A future where kindness is valued as much as power. A future where no child is ever left alone in the dark. That sounds like a good future. It will be. Because of you. The dragon mother stood up to leave, but she paused at the door. The other species are watching us now. They are curious about the humans who befriended dragons. They wonder what kind of beings you are. What do you tell them? Vexaler smiled. I tell them that humans are the species that will change everything. Not because you are strong, or clever, or powerful, but because you still remember how to be kind. She left the workshop. Myra sat there for a long time, holding Kiravex, thinking about everything that had happened. 1 year ago, she had been a nobody, a tired mechanic buying cheap noodles in a bad market. She had walked through a dark alley and heard a baby crying. She had not walked away. That was all. She had not done anything heroic or brave or special. She had just refused to walk away from someone who needed help. But sometimes, that was enough. Sometimes, that was everything. The galaxy was changing. The future was being written, and at the center of it all was a simple truth that humans had always known. Everyone deserves kindness. Everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves to be seen. Even dragons thought, especially dragons. Myra smiled and hugged Kirovex closer. "Come on," she said. "Let us go home." The dragon made a happy sound and wrapped her tail around Myra's wrist, just like she had on that first night Dot and together. They walked into a future that was brighter than either of them could have imagined. Dot all because a young human girl had stopped to help.